Hello everyone, this is me Debashmita Sarkar. Today we are going to talk about from trade to territory the company establishes power. Chapter 2 NCLT History Part 6 5 I think. Yeah, no 6. I think it's part 6. Yeah. So yeah. The claim to paramountcy. It is clear from the above that from the early 19th century, the company pursued an aggressive policy of territorial expansion. Under Lord Hastings, Governor General from 1813 to 1823, a new policy of paramountcy was initiated. Now, the company claimed that its authority was paramount or supreme, hence its power was greater than that of Indian states. In order to protect its interest, it was justified in annexing or threatening to annex any kind Indian kingdom. This view continued to guide later British policies as well. So, in the early 19th century, the company pursued a policy of territorial expansion. Means they have started to expand. And in under the Lord Hastings, who is a governor general from 1813 to 1823, made a new policy which is known as paramountcy. Now the company claimed that its authority was paramount or supreme. Now, when this paramountcy policy was claimed, that time was initiated. That time the company claimed themselves their authority to be supreme, to be the greatest, and they also told, and thus their power was greater than any Indian states, and they threatened the Indian kingdom to protect its interest, or else they will annex it. And this view continued to guide later British policies as well. This process, however, did not go unchallenged. For example, when the British tried to annex the small state of Kittur in Karnataka today, Rani Channamma took to arms and led an anti-British resistance movement. She was arrested in 1824 and died in prison in 1829. But Rayana, poor chowkidar of Sangoli in Kittur, carried on the resistance. With popular support, he destroyed many British camps and records. He was caught and hanged by British in 1830. You will read more about several cases of resistance later in the book. So, the process of paramountcy didn't go unchallenged. The queen of Kittur, who is known as Rani Channamma, challenged this paramountcy, this policy, and led an anti-British resistance movement. Yeah, she was not successful, but she did it. She was arrested in 1824 and died in prison in 1829. But Rayana, who was a poor chowkidar of Sangoli in Kittur, carried the anti-British resistance movement, which was first led by Rani Channamma. And yeah, he was successful but partially. He, with popular support, destroyed many British camps and records. But unfortunately, he was also been caught and hanged by the British in 1830. This is a statue. This is a picture of the statue of the Queen of Kittur, who was Rani Channamma, and he is Lord Hastings, who initiated the new policy paramountcy. In the late 1830s, the East India Company became worried about Russia. It imagined that Russia might expand across Asia and enter India from the northwest. Driven by this fear, the British now wanted to secure their control over the northwest. They fought a prolonged war with Afghanistan between 1838 and 1842 and established in indirect company rule there. Sindh was taken over in 1843. Next in line was Punjab, but the presence of Maharaja Ranjit Singh held back the company. After his death in 1839, two prolonged wars were fought with the Sikh kingdom. Ultimately, in 1849, Punjab was also annexed. In the late 1830s, the East India then became worried about Russia. They thought that Russia might expand across Asia and enter India from the northwest, and they were worried because if Russia expanded and entered India, then the trade that the East India Company were going through would be in means it would stop, and for that they wanted to secure their control over the northwest. They fought a war with Afghanistan between 1838 and 1842, and they got the victory and established an indirect company rule. Means they are there, but it's not totally, but yeah, they means with this indirect company rule they fought with Afghanistan. This means that Russia cannot take it anymore because the northwest is already in the hand of the East India Company. Okay, then comes Sindh, and Sindh was also been annexed in 1843, and then came Punjab. But the presence of Maharaja Ranjit Singh held back the company. But after his death in 1839, two wars were fought with the Sikh kingdom, and ultimately in 1849, Punjab was also annexed. This is a picture of Maharaja Ranjit Singh holding a coat. The doctrine of lapse. The final wave of annexation occurred under Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856. He devised a policy that came to be known as the Doctrine of Lapse. The doctrine declared that if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would elapse, that is, become part of the company territory. One kingdom after another was annexed simply by applying this doctrine. Satara in 1848, Sambalpur in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Nagpur in 1853, and Jhansi in 1854. Finally, in 1856, the company also took over Awadh. This time, the British had an added argument. They said they were obliged by duty to take over Awadh in order to free the people from the misgovernment of the Nawab. Enraged by the humiliating way in which the Nawab was deposed, the people of Awadh joined the great revolt that broke out in 1857. So yeah, the doctrine of lapse. Under this lapse, many kingdom was taken, and this doctrine of lapse was initiated by Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856. This doctrine of lapse means that if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, then his kingdom will be taken by the company territory. And by applying this doctrine, this policy, many kingdoms were taken, like Satara in 1848, Sambalpur in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Nagpur in 1853, and Jhansi in 1854. Finally, in 1856, the company also took Awadh. But this time, they they added an argument. They told that they were obliged by duty in order to, they told that they were obliged by duty in order to free the people from the misgovernment of the Nawab. And hearing these words by which in which the company were humiliating the Nawab, the people of Awadh joined a great revolt that broke out in 1857. These are portrait of Veer Surandai Sai. Just see the difference here, okay? I'm just making the, yeah, I think, okay, we'll do it now. At first, in 1797, company territory were only this much. Like only the yellow parts were in the British control. In 1840, in 1797 to 1840, it grew here, then here, then this was already there, yeah. Then all these parts then came here, okay. And in 1857, most of India were taken. Only this part was not in the company rule. This part means Hyderabad. This very small part is there, and Kathmandu were not there. Setting up a new administration. When Warren Hastings, Governor General from 1773 to 1785, was one of the many important figure who played a significant role in the expansion of company power. By his time, the company had acquired power not only in Bengal but also in Bombay, Madras. British territories were broadly divided into administrative units called presidencies. There are three presidencies: Bengal, Madras and Bombay. Each were ruled by a governor. The supreme head of the administration was the Governor General. Warren Hastings, the first Governor General, introduced several administrative reforms, notably in the sphere of justice. From 1772, a new system of justice was established. Each district was to have two courts. Which were the two courts? One is the criminal court, which is also known as the Faujdari Adat, and another is the civil court, which is also known as the Diwani Adalat. Maulvis and Hindu Pandits interpreted Indian laws for the European district collectors who presided over civil courts. The criminal courts were still under a Qazi. Qazi means a judge, and a Mufti. Mufti means a jurist of the Muslim community, who is responsible for expounding the law that the judge would administer, but under the supervision of the collectors. Here it is the trial of Warren Hastings, which was painted by R.G. Pollard in 1789. Here it is shown that when Warren Hastings went back to England in 1785, Edmund Burke accused him of being personally responsible for the misgovernment of Bengal. This led to an impeachment proceeding in the British Parliament that lasted 7 years. We will again continue from this page. I think only few is left. I think, yeah, only 3 pages left. We will continue with it. So yeah, thank you. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to comment in the comment section below. Bye bye. Stay home and stay safe.